Right, okay. So welcome everybody, welcome and thanks for getting on this call tonight. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Andy Roberts, independent consultant with Arbon and Executive Regional Vice President. Really honoured and thankful tonight for Ian, who's going to join us. It's something I've been meaning to do for quite a while, just for people to get their questions answered that undoubtedly a lot of you will have. I've got a few questions myself that I'm going to prompt to Ian, and then we'll open it up at the end. I've muted everybody at the moment just for the quality of the recording. So if anybody's got any questions at the end, just save them, and then we'll have an open questions and answers session. So before we start, Ian's just going to give you a little bit about his background, just so you know exactly how he works and what he potentially can do for anybody else that wants to utilise his services. So over to you, Ian.
Right, thanks very much, Andy. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Name's Ian Anderson. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I run my own little practice in Tingley, Wakefield, not far from here. I've been a qualified chartered accountant now for 35 years, which is quite a frightening thought, I have to admit. I worked for a variety of companies, qualified with some of the bigger companies, worked on big audits, worked in insolvency. But over the last 12 years, I've been building up a practice of our own, which has got up now to about 80 clients. A lot of them very much like yourselves, sort of sole traders, that type of thing. I obviously act as accountant for Andy and Rachel for their businesses, so I've been helping them out there. Andy and Rachel, they mentioned to me before about this idea of talking to you all in this scenario, which I think is really an excellent way of getting in contact with you all. Now, I know Andy and Rachel have mentioned the point that have come up, various people contacted them about how to run your businesses in Arbon. One of the main questions was limited company or sole trader. I'm not sort of trying to duck the issue on that, but I think it's something I would have to look at on a case-by-case basis. My basic thoughts are anyone who has salaried employment already, where the gross salary before tax is in the region of 30 to 35,000, I'd certainly want to look at the limited company scenario because any profits as you get up towards 42,000 could take somebody into the higher tax bracket, which is 40%. My attitude towards the revenue is I will not have any clients of mine paying a penny more than we can legally get away with. And there are other ways of saving your tax. That's when I look at a limited company. Below 30,000 gross salary, a sole trader is probably the best way to get started. One of the reasons for that can very well be that if in the initial stages you're making losses, those losses can be offset against your salaried income, and hopefully it will get your tax rebate back. As I say, anything higher than that, you could be under threat of going into the 40% bracket. So I just want to review that on a case-by-case basis. That's that.
Yeah, Ian, in terms of, so for the people that are on the call and the people that may be listening at a later stage, for people that will all have been involved in Arbon over differing periods, from brand new to maybe been involved for a prolonged period.
Yeah.
When should they actually register their business?
Right. Yeah, this is one of the points I've got down here. In terms of registering the business, either as a limited company or as a sole trader, the sooner that can be done, the better. Now, as I was saying to Andy earlier on, you can register as a sole trader on the Inland Revenue website. I would strongly advise against it. What I'm quite happy to do is for people to either email through to Andy, email me directly. Certain details will need, and I'll register you self-employed. I do that quite a lot for existing clients anyway. I know exactly where to go. I know how to run through that registration process. I've had other clients trying to do it themselves and gotten an absolute mess. So I'm more than happy to do that for you. In terms of a limited company, again, I can do that for you. The people that I use to register a limited company, the cost for that is 35 quid, including VAT. I pay for that and then I simply re-invoice you for it. That's all. But in terms of whether it's sole trader or limited company, I'd review that with you all individually and run through the extra admin aspects of being a limited company. So we can deal with that later on. Andy and Rachel have all my contact details, and I'm more than happy for them to let them pass them out to you so that you can contact me individually. Quite happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. One of the questions I had, which you've pretty much answered, was how do I decide which type of business to register, limited or sole trader? And I think that was determined by the salary that you
individual base.
Okay. Which probably leads into the next question is, how does it affect me from a tax purpose if I work for someone else or if I have another business?
Right. If you're working for someone else on a salary, your personal tax allowance is 10,600. That will almost certainly be used up in that salary. So any profits you made out of the Arbonne business as a sole trader will be taxed immediately at 20%. As I said earlier on, if, however, as you get started, you're making losses, which is not unusual as you're starting out a business, those can be offset and hopefully get a tax rebate. Now, through the limited company, the reason for doing that on the higher salary people is there's more control over how we get the income out to you, and therefore more control over your tax position. I will not in any circumstances, unless the client insists, let a client's tax there go into the 40% bracket. I'm not prepared to do that if we can avoid it. So the limited company is the route that can be more controlled by. So again, as I said earlier, I probably want to discuss that with you individually. So again, phone call to myself from the contact details, and I'll have a chat with you over the phone. Okay. And I would also like to stress at that point, this has come up with other clients, those sort of initial calls and sorting out how we approach this is free of charge. There's no charge for that at all. So please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm more than happy to help out there.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Main question, I guess, is one that I'm asked: what can I claim for as an expense within the Arbonne business?
The main rule is any expenditure which is directly related to your business activities is claimable, offset against income. There's no way within the tax legislation that lists you can claim for this, that, and the next thing. That is the only thing it says. Some of the things that scribbled down earlier today, obviously purchasing stock from Arbonne, that can be offset against your income. Any travel costs to meetings, getting the train, anything like that. In particular, car mileage, where you've got your own car and using it for the business, you can offset the business mileage you've incurred at the rate of 45 pence per mile. So that is one that, again, I will be talking to you about to make sure you keep a fairly good diary of the mileage you've covered there. Other things would be insurance. You have to take special insurance out, phone calls, any stationery you have to get, files, paperwork, computer software, anything like that. Even in some cases where you replace a computer for use in the business, again, we'll be looking to offset the cost of that computer. Again, meals, if you're out traveling, visiting customers, anything like that, meals, where you're arranging meetings, conference costs, room costs, refreshment costs, all that type of thing. Any advertising, marketing, things like that you do. Now that brings me on to another point.
Just before you move on, you mentioned the products that we buy for stock, that we buy for product samples to run our business. That also include our own product usage as well. So products that we're using to become a product of the product to promote the business.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anything like that. Yes, definitely. As I say, any expenditure which directly relates to business activities is claimable, whatever it is. Now, just moving on there, we were discussing earlier on one of the questions that's been raised. How do you record all your income? How do you record all the expenditure? I'm quite happy to put together a couple of simple little spreadsheets. One page would simply be to record your income, commission, that sort of thing. The other page would be to record your expenditure. I would set that up, and I would also put column headings on it for you for the different types of expenses, so you can follow that through. The other point I would also make is that if you're using those spreadsheets, As you're filling them in, if you're not sure, all you need to do is email me a copy through. I'll have a look at it. If everything looks okay, fine. If anything needs sorting out, I'll do that, email you back so that everybody's on the right track there. So you're not doing that sort of thing in the dark. I'm at the other end to, if you like, proverbially hold your hand on that. So don't hesitate on that side of things.
Okay, that was my questions. I don't know if you had any other points before we open it up.
Well, the other thing I would like to cover, which is probably a main question, is how much am I going to cost? Well, the use of the spreadsheets, I've used that quite a few times in other clients, so I know the quality of the information that comes through, and therefore the amount of time it would take for me at my end to finish off what needs doing, accounts, tax returns, that sort of thing. I'll be looking there at charging the fee each year of between £180 and £200 plus VAT. The other thing I would like to stress is that if anybody doesn't use the spreadsheets and simply sends me files of receipts, invoices, bank statements, that fee would be £400 plus VAT. So that might just be enough to persuade everyone to use my magic spreadsheets.
I think it's perfect anyway, because people don't want to go down the route of designing their own spreadsheets. No. So if it's ready-made for you, just to plug and play, for me, that's the
I mean, this is not meant as any insult to yourselves and your own businesses, but the sort of businesses you're running are fairly straightforward, so they don't need complicated computer spreadsheets or anything like that. The other side of the coin is I can't cope with anything complicated, so the simpler I keep it, for me, the better.
Okay. Anything? Have you any other?
I think that covers everything. Right. I was looking at there, so yeah. If there's any
what I'll do, everybody, I'll just unmute everybody. So if anybody's got any questions, then you feel free to go. So you're all now back live. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask Ian while we're on?
I've got a question.
Okay, Elena.
I used to do bookkeeping, and I've got a QuickBooks program. Is that something you could use for me to use instead of the spreadsheets?
Yeah, I've got a couple of other clients. I don't have QuickBooks on my computer, but I've got a couple of other clients that use. No, that's fine. Other clients that use QuickBooks. There's a report on there which can be dropped down onto an Excel spreadsheet and emailed over to me.
Yeah, and send it to you.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's fine. Excellent.
I'll do that then.
Yeah.
Andy, could you then pass me the details, and then I could just get in touch and just use it?
I'll do that. When I post the call, I'll tag Ian's details in the comments section. So if anybody wants to utilise them, they can do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Can I just ask, are you concerned if we haven't kept any diesel receipts, or are you just going for the 45p a mile?
No, I'd want to go for the 45 pence a mile. It's far more profitable from your point of view.
Yeah.
You might put 30, 40 quids of fuel in your car. That might cover you for 300 miles, let's say. Well, 300 miles at 45 pence a mile is an awful lot more than the 30 or 40 quid you've already put in. So that side of things, no, that's not a worry. I mean, again, for me, I'm quite happy to tag on a page of the spreadsheets as a mileage log, and then you can be filling that in as you go along, and that will then let us the mileage reclaim us through the business. Yeah, so that's not a problem though.
Yeah, all I do, I've just got a book that I keep in the car. Any mileage that me and Rach do, we just have a start mileage and end mileage, where the destination is, so that at any stage, if Ian says, look, you're claiming for 2,000 miles this month, where have you been? We can just show where we've been during that month. So it's just the easiest way to do it, to cover yourself.
No, I see what you're saying, Andy. It's just I didn't think that I was going to need to keep I didn't think that I was going to still be here doing Arbonne approaching November, because I started in January. So I haven't actually kept any strict records. But actually, if we're going on the 45p a mile, it's fairly easy for me, just with the areas that I've covered, it's fairly easy for me to document what dates I've done it and how many miles that is retrospectively.
That's what that's what we did when at the that's what we needed to do. Yeah.
So I'm quite quickly actually tally up.
For doing it that way is that when tax return goes in and shows petrol receipts here, if it's simply based on petrol bills from the filling station, the revenue can then come back and challenge that it's all claimable, because some of that may very well be private mileage, and you then get into an argument. If you simply keep a diary log with your business mileage, it's a lot easier to justify that charge.
Can I just ask, can everybody hear okay now that I've opened it up?
No.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to mute everybody. If anybody's got a question, just give me a thumbs up and I'll unmute you, okay?
Yeah.
Right, does anybody else have a further question? Jane? Okay. Hi, Jane.
I know Andy said.
Sorry, Jane, start again, please.
Right. Hi, Ian. I know Andy said that if we buy products from Arbonne for our own use, that because we're being a product to the product, we can claim for that. But does this mean we can claim for everything that we order from Arbonne every time we order?
Get everything down, get everything put through, yeah.
Right. Is there any point at which the taxman says, why are you still doing this, because you're still not actually making a profit yet?
Tell him to read The Slight Edge.
Yeah, they can do.
Okay, then.
Yeah, they can do, but to be honest with you, once any of you come over as my client, one of the first things I'll get you to do is sign a form for the revenue, which sets me up as your agent. So any questions like that would come to me first. So I'll deal with it. That's one of the things you'll be paying me for, to deal with the taxman and keep him off your back as much as possible. That's why I'm going bald grey here, looking a lot older than I am.
We'll speak about Ari now.
Right. It's hard to believe I'm actually 21.
Just had a hard life.
That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, just one moment. I'm just going to mute Jane, unmute. Okay, you back again?
Hi, okay. So thanks, Ian. I've got a few questions. How long can I go back? So I've been in business for 2 years, but I've not actually been through this process. I've started it, I've got everything ready, but I've not done the in the revenue part.
Right. Well, we'll get you registered as soon as possible, one way or the other. I think we may very well have to just lump 2 years worth of stuff all together on one tax return then. That may have to be the way around it to get that all out the road. Again, it's one of those things, if I let you have the spreadsheet, if you can fill those in as best as you can, it will give us a starting point. Just another point there, do any of you have a separate bank account for the Arbonne business? Or is it all just going into your own personal bank account?
Yeah.
What, into your personal bank account? Yeah. No, that's fair enough. If we decide any of you need to go down the limited company route, you will certainly have to set up a separate bank account for the limited company.
Does that need to be a business account, or could that be a different bank account?
For the limited company?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it would be a business account. Yeah. Yeah.
But with the sole trader, can it just be a personal account?
To be honest, if you can get a business account, that would be better, because what I'm keen to do is, if there is an investigation, and those actually, despite what you might hear, are not, a great number of those, it's a lot easier to deal with the revenue and reconcile back to your tax returns if all your transactions are going through a separate business account. Now, it's probably something to look at. It doesn't have to be done immediately, but it may be something that's worth going to your regular bank where you've got personal bank accounts and just having a word with a local manager there and talking that through with them about setting up a separate business account for the Arbonne side of things. It would be easier to deal with for the tax return, and should any queries come from the revenue. again, it's something we can look at later on.
And for the actual registering then, I remember seeing on TV like last year, is the period, is that January? Do you have to do it in?
No, the tax returns, the deadline for getting tax returns in for any tax year is 31st of January. So 31st of January next year, 31st of January 2016 is the deadline for getting all tax returns in for the tax year that ended 5th of April 2015. You've effectively got 10 months to get the tax return in. Some of you may have heard the date 31st of October being thrown around. That is when you send in a paper tax return. All my clients, the tax returns go in from my computer, from my software, they're going online, so the deadline for them is 31st of January.
Okay, and you mentioned your costs, so you've got your £400 and your £200 plus VAT. What are the ongoing costs? So say, for example, if Inland Revenue were to field a question to you, is that something that's chargeable, like a standard legal solicitor?
It would, if the Revenue were to open an inquiry or investigation into the tax return, that would be something that we'd have to look at separately, see what they're coming with, see where the information is. My intention always with clients is to have the information so neat and tidy and so tied up with the accounts that if the Revenue want to look at it, they walk in at 9 o'clock in the morning, they walk out at 12 o'clock lunchtime, and the next thing we hear from them is, thank you very much, this inquiry is closed. I will make sure that anything that goes on your tax return, both from a sole trader point of view and a limited company point of view, will be so neat and tidy that any inquiry they may raise will be dealt with immediately. So a lot of it should be dealt with within that fee. If it becomes something more complicated, then yeah, we would have to sort out a separate fee for that. It is possible to take out insurance against that, and we do have through AIMS, we do have contacts with a specialist insurance company, and I could certainly have a word with them and see what the cost for that would be.
Okay. I've got two more if you don't mind.
How
many questions? How much with regards to Vegas? What's included, or can we include on that one? Obviously the flights, obviously the accommodation, but is it like everything that we can include? What did you do?
The global training conference in Vegas.
I think everything connected with their meals, your conference charges, your hotel bills, your flights. I'm afraid it may not include your casino things or anything like that. I'd really struggle with that. Sorry, I can't guarantee that one. But
right?
I mean, anything else? Yeah, your flights, your conference charges, hotel, meals, that type of thing. Yeah, that would all go through, definitely.
Oh, and great. Okay, that's helpful. And last one is
support in fighting the dragons, but in a different way, in a much darker way than
What's that?
Is it an advert on MSN or something?
So the last one. So me and my husband, we do the business together, but we actually have two separate pins, unlike Andy and Rachel. Would I be able to do everything for both of us, because we've kind of done some things together, or do I have to have my own business set up and he has to have his own business account set up with yourself?
Two separate IDs.
Two separate IDs, and they recognise the two separate members of the Arbonne setup. Yeah. I think if you can give me a ring at some stage, I think I'd probably want to have, again, it's coming back to this thing about salaries and other income, how we are with that. And I want to sort of talk to you sort of privately about that.
Okay.
So if you get contact details and then from Andy and give me a ring, probably out and about all day tomorrow. Probably give me a ring into next week, Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, do that. I'm quite happy to have a chat with you over the phone.
Sorry, can I ask two questions when Emma's finished?
I'm finished now. Thank you.
Okay.
Ian.
Okay. Questions I've got is I'm not salaried,
Right.
but I'm on an ill health retirement pension.
Yeah,
So can I still go sole trade away?
I would imagine you'd be all right on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, again, you know, as I would say to everybody, before I set you up either as a sole trader or a limited company, I'd like to have a quick word with you over the phone just to have an idea of what other income you do have. But I think you're probably in a position there, sole trader would be fine for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other question is that I show my dogs, and part of my Arbonne business is that I actually, when I attend dog shows, I take my Arbonne business with me and have a trade stand there. So in terms of the actual expenses, i.e. the 45p a mile and such like, do you think it's reasonable for me to still claim the 45p a mile, even though I'm going down to the dog show as well?
So what?
The dog show is a hobby.
You're still marketing. You're still marketing. Yeah. I'd want to shove all that mileage in.
Right.
Shove that, and I'd be quite happy to argue that with the inspector. I'd argue that with the inspector quite happily.
Yeah, because the thing is actually that if I didn't show my dogs, a lot of the people that have come and approached me about the business wouldn't have approached me. They've done it because they know me. So it's kind of like.
I might even have a look at putting your dog show costs in as a marketing cost and an advertising cost.
Excellent.
I'd like to swing that one against the inspector. That'll be fun. Oh yeah.
Can we look at my stud dog work as well then?
That might be pushing it a bit. Might be pushing it.
Have you two girls got any more questions before I open it back up?
Appreciate that, Ian. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, anybody else got any further questions? Emma, just one moment, I'll unmute you. Okay, Emma, you're live.
Hi.
Yeah, hi Emma, yeah.
Hi, I have two other income streams because I've got a hair business and a property I let out as well.
Right.
How do your costs vary if I was to submit everything for the three businesses on 3 lots of separate sheets? Just so I can get an idea compared to the accountant I use at the moment.
It's pretty much like the same as us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think on that one, give me a ring next week, Emma, and we'll have a chance to have a longer chat with you about that. Whereabouts are you based?
I'm at Otley.
Right.
North Leeds.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, maybe have a day trip out to Otley then with Avril and Colin and see you then. Yeah. Give me a ring next week then, Emma, and we'll have a chat about
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Emma?
No, that was just to get a comparison really, because a lot of the other information's been really helpful, but some of it I knew already from having my other businesses.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, good. Just one moment. Okay, has anybody else got any further questions?
Right.
Zoe? Yeah, just one moment. Okay, Zoe.
Sorry, it's a bit dark if my TV is not shining on me.
It's all right.
If you use one of your rooms in the house to work in, can you claim for electricity or?
Yeah, I would look at I would look there at getting something put into there what we call use of home as office. So especially if you've got like a little study that is primarily you use that for that type of thing, that's a lot easier than where somebody might just be sat at the coffee table in the lounge doing all the work while they're watching Downton Abbey or things like that. That's a bit more difficult. Where you've got a room that is set aside as a study, that becomes a bit easier. As far as everyone else is concerned, if you've not got a study, I would look at putting some sort of charge in, maybe something like 10, 15 quid a week to cover that, cover you for things like electricity, gas, all that type of thing, just as a basic charge. But it becomes a bit easier where, as you say, Zoe, you've got a separate room that you use for that. Yeah, so I want to have a look at that with you as well, definitely.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, thank you.
With regard to clothing, if you're buying like a suit or anything like that, can you no?
No. you would only get away with that if any clothing you were buying had the Arbonne
branding,
logo
yeah.
and branding on. I'm afraid it goes back a number of years. A lady barrister tried to claim for, obviously, the black clothing she has to wear. And as the judge pointed out, well, excuse me, but you have to be clothed. I wouldn't appreciate you appearing in front of me naked.
Yeah.
So things like that, no, I'm afraid not. But anything that maybe got logo branding on, yes, I would look at that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Has anybody got any further questions? Yeah. Just one moment. Okay. Go. Oh, one moment. Oh, wrong one. Right. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on Emma's, Andy. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got it.
On the use of Homer's office,
Yeah.
I think it's fairly easy to distinguish anyway. Because I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, my boxes of my stock and samples and everything that I take with me to presentations, that's all got to be stored somewhere as well.
Right.
It's fairly easy to distinguish, really, that you're going to have I need a fairly significant space to be able to store all that.
Right, that makes it easier then, yeah. So again, that's something I'd have a chat with you about so it can work out a decent figure for that, rather than just a standard 10, 15 quid a week. Yeah.
So is it worth me actually taking a photograph of the boxes of stock so that it can show?
No.
You don't need that.
No. All I'd probably have a chat with you about is either size of the room compared to the size of the house, and take that as a percentage of all your costs, mortgage, interest rates, electric, gas, all that type of thing, or based on the number of rooms in the house. There's 2 or 3 different ways of doing it, but where there is a specific room set aside for use in the business in some way, either, as Zoe was saying, for doing work, a study for doing work in, or as you said, a storeroom for keeping all stock and things like that, that becomes a lot easier. So again, yes, I'd be looking at putting something in for that, and I probably want to have a chat with you about that, how we work that figure out.
Yeah, and again, I'm presuming the same with your car. There's an element of your car wear and tear.
Well, that's why the mileage claim.
45p a mile.
It covers everything. It covers wear and tear, repairs, insurance.
Of course it does, yeah.
Tax, all that sort of thing. The only thing that would then go into your spreadsheet is, in this month, I did 1,000 miles for the business, because I went here, there and everywhere. Therefore, my mileage reclaim is 450 quid.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking, sorry.
All your costs.
Yeah.
One of the other... Sorry,
one
go
last
ahead.
question, sorry, and you, I think I'm going to open up a can of worms here, but somebody's mentioned to me, have I thought about business rates or business tax for using my home as business? Do we need to really worry about that with Arbonne?
I've got 2 minutes left.
No, I wouldn't worry about that. I won't worry about that.
So like a council tax, we don't need to go advising the council that we're running an Arbonne business.
No, keep away from that lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, Jane, we've got a minute and a half left. Jane, have you got a question? I'm just going to unmute you. Jane?
Can we claim for books and audio books that are self-development style?
Oh, for
As
training
opposed to-
type things. Yeah, I would have a look at those. Yeah. So, I mean, shove those down in the spreadsheet and we can sort that out.
Another category which we're big on in Arbonne is gifting. So gifts that we buy for team members as incentives, incentive meals, rewards, that kind of thing.
Marketing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there'll be a column for advertising that can go in there.
Okay. Right, guys, we've got 1 minute left, so obviously we'll end the questions there. If anybody's got anything specific, if anybody wants to speak to Ian individually, I will post the details. But yeah, just from me, I want to thank you for your time tonight, for giving this up.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
And thank you very
much.
Very challenging.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. I'll get this video on tonight and I'll get the
Thank
details.
you.
So thanks for being on.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.